Cancer, hello there, my beautiful friends. We're going to do your general tarot reading for early February 2026. Thank you so much for joining me today. You know, I appreciate each and every single one of you. So let's get right down to business as always and start you off with an oracle card here, just so we can dip our toes in the energy and see what's happening for the lovely Cancer collective. Hope you're all doing fabulous and fantastic, my friends. Let's get it going here. My guide, spirit team, talk to me. What do we got for our beautiful Cancer collective in early February? What energies, messages, insights can we take a little peek at? And yeah, we're just going to take a real quick look at this first card. Then we'll get into the full reading itself. At the very end, I'll pull you a bonus card from the Shadowland Tarot just to see what might be in the shadows or what shadow work you can lean into, which is always interesting. But let's get it going here. Let's rock and see what we got for Cancer in early February. What's the vibe? What's the energy here? There we go. Nice and quick. That card popped right out. Cool. I think I saw this in one of the earth signs as well. Very dreamy. It could have been in the Capricorn reading. But that's not extremely important because this is actually an energy that's very, very compatible with the Cancer collective. I love the watery imagination, the dreaminess. Notice the landscape in the background. So there's a lot of cool imagery here with this card. And it's more so of the internal world. That's a big vibe. Now, before we fully dive into that, if you're new here, I'll be speaking about the February subscriber surprise towards the end, so you might want to check that out. And also, if you could kindly illuminate that like button by tapping it right on its third eye, you know, I'd greatly appreciate it. But enough of the promo, back into the reading. Let's talk more in depth about this card. So as you can see, we have this lady. She's doing some sort of yogic pose. She could be in a fetal position, which to me, that also speaks of comfort. There's something here about safety, but the background is very etheric and it's like a dreamscape. We have this clock where the numbers are flying off. So I think of the internal worlds. Now, for some of you, if you've not been getting a lot of rest and relaxation, recuperation, spirit might want you to try to make a concerted effort to sleep a little bit better, because sometimes this card could show up when someone's having a little bit of issues with sleep. Watch out for very vivid or funky dreams when this card shows up. You might want to keep a dream journal to see if like spirit's trying to send you messages when this card is here. But it's a huge card for the imagination, the inner world. And as a water sign, Cancers have a very rich inner self. So again, whether that's problem solving, finding creative solutions to proceed or progress or make things better. For some of you, it could be any sort of creative pursuit or endeavor, whether it's like art, writing, music, or just some sort of emotional self-expression. It's highly, highly favored when this card is here. This is outside the box type of thinking. But there's this beautiful etheric vibe to it as well, where it's like, time doesn't mean anything. It's an illusion. So we're just going to let her keep doing whatever she's doing. Big for prayer and meditation as well. But let's get into tarot. And yeah, I always say that first card, it doesn't make or break the reading, it's just a little footnote. So let's get you 3 tarot cards in the upright, then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. Shuffle it up one time here for Cancer. What do we got? And while we get this deck shuffled up and ready to go, let's talk about last week's reading. I like the energy I saw last week. The reading was titled Big Win Incoming. So I hope you had one. And I always say wins come in all different shapes and sizes. Sometimes it's an emotional win. Sometimes you just have a couple of really good days. Sometimes it could be a big one as well. Money, work, you name it. So that energy was looking really great. Hopefully it bleeds over because, as you know, the energy could flow into subsequent weeks. But we're going to see what shows up this week. As you know, energy is very fluid, never set in stone. So only take what hits for you, because we could be seeing your vibe or somebody else, right? Let's get it going. 3 cards for Cancer to start. What do we got for our good Cancerian friends? Thank you. Cool. Good start. Okay, it's working. Energy's definitely working here with the 8 of Pentacles. I don't dislike it. I usually like an action card in the first spot. This is a big card of effort and mending. That's a big thing we see here. Let's get a couple more. Let's get a couple more for Cancer. Thank you. Okay, 4 cups. Yeah, they're more of this internal energy. It's all good. We'll take a look at it. So it's like we have the outer world, we have the inner world showing up once again. So let's get one more out here for you. I like the elemental combination so far. It does work pretty good for Cancer. Okay, so don't get nervous about this card over here. We do have the Death card, and I always say, listen, that's more of like a Phoenix Rising energy, and we'll get into that. I know some people, when they're new to tarot, they get nervous when they see that card. Don't worry about it. But let's go through. I'll give you some of the classical meanings and archetypes. Then we'll get into that juicy, intuitive stuff. But at first glance, Actually, even though we have that death card, the energy is actually very comfortable for a Cancer reading. And I like to look at the elements. It tells us how the energy is flowing or the areas of life that could be extra important. And we have a lot of water energy and a little bit of earth. These are all compatible elements for Cancers. Now, here, position number one with the earth. That represents one's sense of security. It could represent routine, day-to-day life. It could represent money, work, finances, investments, home, family. So when we see earth energy, we think of the earthly world. The downside to earth energy, sometimes it could be a little stuck. Sometimes it might not be moving as quick as we'd like it to move, but it's there and it's predictable. Now, moving here to the back end, we have water, which is your power element. That's your comfort zone. It's like your comfort place. So I do like this. I think it's very important to watch your headspace in this time, especially with the Four of Cups and the Death card. Just watch the thoughts. Thoughts become things. I think that's very important to remember. But water is about that inner world. It's the realm of feelings and emotions, things or people that we care deeply for. It could be that self-expression, that creativity that we were already seeing with that very first card. The downside to water, sometimes it's a little up and down, right? Sometimes you don't know where it's going, what it's doing. It's kind of a mystery. So the way they combine, though, earth and water together, that represents a lot of potential blessings and abundance. So I'm feeling cautiously optimistic here, Cancer. Let's go through and start building it out piece by piece. Position number one, we got the Eight of Pentacles. Now we see this individual looks like an artisan, and he's over his workbench chiseling away, creating a whole bunch of pentacles here. So first and foremost, for some of you, this could represent work, career, or business. That's one of the biggest career cards there is. But the main overarching theme I always think of with this card is effort. Things, projects, people that we want to put effort into. It could even be relationships. So when I see this, it's like I'm trying, I'm working, I'm progressing. So I like this card. To me, it does represent results. That's the thing I really like about this. So maybe it'll show us something you've been working towards, or maybe it's going to show us a result that's coming in for you, especially with this card on the end. So I like it. But what might be the downside with the Eight of Pentacles? Sometimes it's an energy that could tire itself out. Sometimes it's an energy that could try a little too hard. So watch your energy levels in this time. That's a theme we've been getting quite a bit this week. Watch your energy levels, especially if you're feeling zapped. Sometimes this could be like a workaholic type of energy. It's where it's like, I can't stop, won't stop. I'm going to run myself ragged, burning the candle at both ends. So again, just watch the energy. A good thing about it, if we look at it in the sense of relationships, is the Eight of Pentacles could represent mending, fixing something. So if there's certain things you've been dealing with, Eight of Pentacles tells us that it's fixable. And that's something I really like. Now, moving to the middle, we have the Four of Cups, very similar to the first Oracle card we started with. And we see this lovely lady under that tree. It's like she's having a little snooze, having a little nap. And she's kind of looking at the Three Cups that are in front of her. She doesn't see the Ace of Cups that the universe is handing out. So when I see this, I think of the daydreaming, the imagination, the thought process. So all the stuff I was saying earlier with that first card, it shows up again. So whether it's just getting stuff out and expressing yourself, that's a good thing. But this can be a classic overthinker when I see the Four of Cups. So it's like I'm too deep in thought to see what's around me. So just take that for what it's worth. Sometimes this energy can be trapped in its head. It could also represent something that you can't stop thinking about, or it could go the other way. Maybe you're on someone else's mind. Now, moving to the back end, we have the heaviest card in the whole entire deck, I think. We have the Death card. And I always say don't get nervous about it. Obviously, whenever this shows up in popular culture and movies, you see the fortune teller and they throw out the Death card. Oh, yeah, scary, scary. It's really not. Scorpio energy, so maybe you have Scorpio placements. Maybe you're connected to a Scorpio. Now, the reason people get upset with this card, when they think of death, they think of finality. They think of endings. And of course, this card can mean that sometimes. But when I see this, I think more so of change. I think of a shift of energy. This is a highly karmic card. So it could speak about karmic situations that you might be experiencing or going through, a period of change and transformation. This card to me is a phoenix rising from the ashes. So not only is this not just a negative, I actually like it. I do. And maybe I'm a little biased because I have Scorpio moon, but I think the Death card can be good. Now, the rough side about it, of course, we could speak about endings, but death to me can sometimes represent situations that are a little bit out of our hands. So some of you might be going through some situations where it's like, all right, well, it's not in my hands anymore. So we're just going to have to see how it goes. But I would say watch the mindset with this combination. So I want to dive deeper on all of it. Let's do it. Let's jump in and clarify. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here for Cancer. What do we got for our good friends, please? And yes, this is where I go intuitive with the message, which means I just tell you how it feels to me. So feel free to do further research or rely on your base knowledge of tarot, because as you know, every single reading is about the reader's interpretation, and I'm just giving you mine. Let's go in on that Eight of Pentacles. Oh, and yes, if you're a reader yourself, please feel free to play along. That's why the box is here. If you're feeling any messages you want to give to Cancer, you can drop it in the comments. I don't mind at all. Okay, Eight of Pentacles. Why is it here? What's all this effort? This is good to me. So we have the Empress in the upright. So there is still this nice wave of positive energy that a lot of Cancers can tap into. As far as zodiac signs go, when I see the Empress, I think of Taurus and I think of Libra, because they're connected to that Venus energy. She could also represent mother figures or older feminine guide type figures as well. So I love the Empress. She's about blessings and abundance. So for some of you, you might be on the road or in progress of something that you really want to stick to when I see this, or that you should. This could be advice from Spirit to a lot of you, where it's like, keep pushing, because to me this is an amazing result. Again, we're seeing like a win, victory, or a blessing. So I love this, because the Empress to me is that cup runneth over. It's beautiful, it's fertile, it's abundant. So this is the type of energy we want to see. Now of course I'm going to be a little skeptical, especially with this stuff here on the back end, but we're starting from a good place. And again, if this isn't a win, victory, or blessing that comes in, and it could be monetary, it could be work related, it could be anything really, there is something that Spirit wants you to continue. So a road that you're on, that Spirit wants you to keep working at it, working on something, keep pushing, don't give up, because this is a payoff. This is a payoff in the end. So I think that's actually beautiful. It's a great way to start. So we're just going to get her tucked in there. And it's positive thoughts as well. So we're going to go in on the Four of Cups. I like that. Big payoff energy. Big payoff. All right, let's see what the Four of Cups has for you. Something will pay off in the end for you, my good friends. So let's go in on that Four of Cups. Why is it here for Cancer, please? Thank you. Okay. All right, this does feel a little bit like unfinished business. All right, so we do have the Eight of Wands in reverse underneath it. So usually to me, the Eight of Wands either represents a lack of communication, or it, like not hearing from something, not hearing back, not hearing from someone. It could be all that kind of stuff. But it can also be an energy that seems to loop back. So when I see the Four of Cups and the Eight of Wands in reverse, to me, this feels like a thought loop. So there could be something, again, it doesn't have to be you, it could be someone else that you're connected to, where they feel like there's an unfinished business, unfinished situation, or a thread that hasn't been closed off fully. Not sure what's going on or what that could be. I mean, it could be a lot of different things. But the Eight of Wands, again, it's either a thought loop or unfinished business or an unfinished situation. I feel like it's very, very strong in that energy for me this week. Okay. Now, will you get the chance to finish that unfinished business? Potentially. I mean, we do have the payoff. We do have the death card coming up. But yeah, I would say if that's not the case, like let's say you don't have any unfinished business or anything like that, very important to watch your mindset. That's another thing I'm picking up. Because I do have these thought loops where it's like my mind grabs onto something and I can't stop thinking about it. So it's kind of like a spiral. So watch out for thought loops, thought spirals, how you view yourself, all that kind of stuff. We're going to keep going. Let's keep moving it over. So we got a little mix this week, Cancer, right? We got some good stuff that you're heading towards, but then we have this energy that's latching onto something else. Like it's latched onto it, and it's like spiral. So what's going on the death card? Then we'll do a quick recap before we get into the shadow. So why is death here for Cancer? Why is the death card here? Thank you. Okay. So I don't think this is a bad thing. So we have the Emperor in reverse underneath it. If you're connected to an Aries, this could be representing that. If the Emperor shows up in the upright, he's usually a card that has a lot of control over a situation, where it's like a boss, big boss, king of kings, right? So when I see Death with Emperor in reverse, it's like some of you could be going through a very powerful karmic shift or karmic change, whether it's like within yourself or a situation. And to me, this is an energy where it's like just you need to trust the process. And I know that sounds cliche. I know some of you might not want to hear that. But Death with Emperor in reverse is like, all right, well, you've done what you can do up to this point. You need to just trust the process. Because remember, if this guy's in the upright, it's the boss, right? He's calling the shots. He says how things go. So in reverse, it's like, all right, well, do what you will. Now, for some of you, you might be finding acceptance with something too. That's another thing where it's like, you ever hear the phrase, Jesus take the wheel? It's kind of like that, where it's like, Jesus take the wheel, God take the wheel, universe take the wheel, whatever label you want to put in there. That's how this feels to me on the back end. And I've seen it in little drips and drabs in recent weeks where a lot of you could be going through a very powerful period of transformation, even if it doesn't feel like it. Change is usually pretty difficult, right? It's not always easy, but it's there. It's showing up. I see the payoff. We see the good energy, but this energy, I don't want to say it's resignation or giving up, but it's kind of just saying it's an acceptance. So let's go through and do a quick recap. Then we'll get into the shadow. So there's great stuff here. Then I have some stuff I'm feeling pretty neutral about. But if you kindly look in the box position, number one, we have the Eight of Pentacles with the Empress. This is something that Spirit wants you to continue working on, or stay on the road, or don't give up, because there is something that will pay off for you in a very big way in the end. So I like that. So if you are going through this shift that we saw, or the change, it's worth it. Moving to the center, we have the Four of Cups with the Eight of Wands in reverse. To me, this is either an unfinished business, unfinished situation, where it's like, all right, well, there's still a loose thread there. But for another portion of you, watch out for thought loops and spirals. Like, the mindset is super important in this time. Try to stay as optimistic and silver lining as possible. Think about me when those thoughts pop in. You want to stay as optimistic as you can. Moving to the back end, we have the Death card with the Emperor in reverse. And this can represent things that are kind of out of our hands. So whether this is a feeling of acceptance, I don't want to say it's resignation or giving up. To me, it's just a form of acceptance of whatever will be type of vibe. But I also get this strong, powerful karmic change or transformation that a lot of you could be going through. And it could just be a situation itself where it kind of just does what it does, or it's going to do what it's going to do. So please take a screenshot if you want to look into it further. Let's see what's in the shadows. Okay, let's get a good shuffle here. And yeah, I always like to pull a shadow card at the very end just to see whether it's something within you or something you don't quite see. Shadow cards don't always have to be a challenge. They could be a good thing too. So let's get you one. And yeah, if you made it to this point in the reading, please feel free to check out channel memberships. I'll put a link for it in the comments below. It's a beautiful way to support the channel, and I have much love for all my channel members. Okay, let's get this shadow card going. Ooh, quick. Very first shuffle, the card popped out. I'll take it. So we got the Page of Pentacles in the shadows. So it could be an earth sign that you're connected to. We don't even have to go that route. Now, the thing I always say about pages, to me, they represent students learning new information. So for a lot of you, that could be a place you're at right now where you're absorbing information and you're trying to learn. So a new journey could pop up for a lot of you, which could be nice. Page of Pentacles could be communication. So there is something here. Just watch, like when you're communicating, that you're very clear and concise about it, because this can be a warning. When I look at the shadow side of the Page of Pentacles, it could be an energy that's a little too shy to speak its mind, or it's a little too reserved to speak its mind. So watch your confidence levels in this time as well. And as far as communication goes, doesn't mean you have to be mean, but if there is something you want to get off your chest, the Page of Pentacles is like, just be straightforward and concise about it. That's like the main vibe. But yeah, watch the self-confidence big time, because that's a shadow side of all pages. They could get shy, they could get bashful, they could bite their tongue. So we're just going to let him chill out right there. That's what I have for you this week, Cancer. Don't click away just yet, though. I'm going to give you the details of the February subscriber surprise. If you would like further insight on your situation, you could book a personal reading with me at my website, mastermetaphysics.com, so we could have a little chat. My February calendar is up, so go check that out. They usually go pretty quick. But for the February subscriber surprise, we're doing a nice different style this month. We're doing a winner's choice. So the winners, which will be 3, will have their choice of the Tarot of the Owls, the Gilded Tarot Royale, or a handmade crystal pendant from my shop, mastermetaphysics.com, once again. So if you'd like to get your name in for this, it's 2 simple things. As always, my friends, first, you must be subscribed. And second, let me know down in the comments Out of all the cards we saw in this week's reading, which one caught your attention the most? Whether it really inspired you or hit you right in your feelings? Anyone that stood out to you, and you'll be entered to win. And at the end of the month, the winners will be announced in my community tab. As always, my friends, much love, and I'll see you soon.